Hey everyone, this is Brennan Decima, owner of Decima Wealth Consulting. I appreciate you joining this evening. Um, Last week we had a great podcast, good discussion with my wife Erin and I, talking about how challenging it is for couples to discuss money and some strategies that you can use to have a better conversation with your loved one. And the feedback was overwhelmingly positive, um, but it brought up an interesting side note. A lot of people said, hey, we're actually pretty good at communicating as a spouse, but it's really really tough for us to have these discussions with our kids, or talking about money with our parents is incredibly challenging. And a lot of people reached out and expressed the challenge of speaking with parents, but also the concern of potentially having to support our parents financially. So we're going to dive a little bit into having the conversation with our parents and how to better prepare for stepping in as a trusted individual for your parents if you end up in that scenario. So a really fascinating statistic that I came across was from the Pew research, but roughly 3 in 10 individuals provide financial assistance for their parent that is over the age of 65. So about 30% of Americans are financially supporting their parents, which is a really large number, millions of people. 14% of individuals are providing physical assistance, helping with bathing, dressing, standards of care. So caring for elderly parents is really, really common. And in the last decade, the number of people providing assistance to their parents has increased by 45%. So people are living longer, which means their money needs to last longer. Not everyone is able to do that, but the longer we live, the more likely that you're going to need some type of physical or financial support, or our parents are going to need some type of physical or financial support. So, how do we address that with our parents? So, I think the earlier we start the conversation, the better off it's going to be. So when I worked in Sarasota, I had clients that were in their 80s, 90s, 100 years old. So typically, what happened is people that were once very capable, very intelligent, as they aged, they just were no longer able to do some of the things that used to come very easy to them. Managing their finance, paying the bills, filing taxes, that just becomes really challenging the later in life we get. So having someone that is trusted step in was really, really common when I was in Sarasota. Now, where I found success with that and where I saw my clients having success with that is the earlier we do it, the more likely you're going to step in before a major issue happens. So we don't want to wait until there's an event. We don't want to wait until the memory loss has occurred. We don't want to wait till after a stroke and communication cannot be had. We don't want to wait until the fraud has already taken money out of the account, right? So, very overwhelming, very embarrassing to accept help after a mistake. So, we want to get in front of that. And the earlier we start to have the conversation, the better off it's going to be for everyone. Now, it's likely and it's probable that your offers of help most likely are going to be rejected, right? It's a sense of pride. Money can be a power dynamic. Money typically is very personal. So letting someone else in, accepting help, even though there's no shame in that, sometimes people feel that that is admitting aging, and not everyone wants to come to terms with that. So don't be surprised if your initial offers to help are rejected. So I think there's a couple ways that we can hopefully get our foot in the door. The first way we can do that is to start really, really small, right? So don't expect to immediately take control of all of the investing and the bill pay. You may not want that responsibility, right? But bringing it up in conversation, mentioning something that you've seen in the news, financial, mentioning something that you're doing with taxes, just to open up dialogue, and doing that frequently, just constantly dripping in your interactions something that might spark a conversation around personal finances. You don't need to pushy, you don't need to pry, but just hopefully make it more of a normal conversation point, I think is really helpful. Two, if you do start to get some personal, you know, exposure to what's going on in their financial picture, I think building credibility and building trust with something small goes a really, really long way. So let me give you an example of that. Offering to organize the bills or organize the credit cards or making sure that there's a file where all the legal documents are in one place, that goes a long way, right? Organization is overwhelming, so offering to say, hey, do you have the legal documents done? Are they all located in one place? If not, can I do that for you? Can I make life easier on mom or dad or on us if something were to happen? So start small and then slowly build that trust, and then hopefully that'll open up more and more responsibility as time goes on and as more needed, right? If you do end up getting more of a buy-in to take a more active role, I think it's really, really critical to look at the entire financial picture. So what does that mean? Understanding where all of the accounts are. So what are the accounts? How are they titled? What are the beneficiary designations? Where are they located? So that should all be information that you're gathering, right? Understanding what the expenses are. So what are the bills? How are they currently being paid? Are they being paid for credit card? Are they being paid out of a particular account? Where is the cash flow coming to fund that credit card or that account? So understanding the sources of income, what happens if someone passes, understanding the expenses and how they're being paid can really help make sure that the utilities don't get cut off because a bill wasn't paid because an account wasn't funded, right? So knowing where the outflows are. Understanding the legal team in place. So who's filing the taxes? Is that them? Is that TurboTax? Is that a CPA? Are you aware of who that CPA is? Are you privy to those conversations? If they have an attorney, what legal documents have they put together? Do they have the will in place, the power of attorney? Is there an up-to-date healthcare directive that they've confirmed is truly their wishes? When was the last time they've reviewed whether or not they need the trust? Has the trust been looked at in the last 10, 20 years, right? Are there new family members that need to be added, right? So getting a full lens of the financial picture and understanding and being part of the meetings with the full team can really help make sure that there's not a gap in the communication, a gap in the plan if there's an ailment or an emergency, right? So understanding that full team. And then I think finally, really making sure that that you're doing this in a place of no judgment and no criticism, right? So they may have done something the same way for decades and decades, and you immediately coming in and picking apart what they've done can be really, really abrasive, right? So I think just coming at it from a place of curiosity and an understanding, what are they doing? How has that been working? What keeps them up at night? What are the areas that they've really found successful? So you're not there to replace what they're doing. You're there to add support and, create that bridge and continuity plan if they can't do it. So I think a lot of the friction that I see is when someone comes in and thinks that they completely need to overhaul a financial picture. And maybe they do, but that doesn't mean that it needs to be done overnight or done from a place of judgment or criticism. So coming at the conversation with curiosity and understanding and support and really just learning is going to help you be able to be a much better caregiver and a much better trusted point of contact as they age and lean on you more and more. So again, I think the conversation is challenging, but hopefully these are some ways that you find can make the conversation a little bit easier. If you need any support with this conversation, I'm certainly here to facilitate joint meetings with the people you care about. And if there's other topics that you would like to see me cover, please message me. You can reach me at brennan@decimawealth.com or visit us at www.decimawealth.com. Hope everyone has a great day. Thanks again for your time.